Why? I'm so depressed. If only someone could help me. What is that?
My name is Adam.
And I am Owen, and we are Films in Retrospect.
Today we watch Infinity Train
From Cartoon Network.
featuring special guest star John Stamos.
No, he didn't respond to our letter.
Featuring Caesar again.
It's the element of surprise. We like ninjas.
We're gonna start with the good of Infinity Train. What did you boys like?
This sounds like a little like kindergarten class now.
So, what did you like about the show? I liked all the colors. Green's my favorite.
Pretty art.
Okay, that's kind of I'm gonna argue with. The art style wasn't my favorite.
Okay. The art style is gorgeous.
No, it fulfills its purpose. That's for sure. You know, you get the basic shapes of everything. You know what it is you're looking at. Like, I'm looking at person. I'm looking at dog. I'm looking at train. By season 2, it gets a little more complex.
Yeah. By the way, there will be spoilers.
Spoilers ahead. Major spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
For the first 2 seasons. That's all I've seen.
The art style does its job, but I also think it does it very well, I think.
Yeah, it's got a charm to it, but it's a charm that is basic without being...
I would agree.
More... It goes for the bare minimum, I think.
Yeah.
I'm appalled.
I mean...
Bare minimum. Like, Teen Titans Go. They literally use flash animation for that. That is the bare minimum. This, they're putting effort into it. The gorgeous paintings, the sky, you know, the different rooms, the different colors.
I don't, like, have a problem with the art style. It struck me as being something, like, I could draw. And if I can draw it, I don't rank it too high. Like, did you watch Star Wars Visions?
No.
Okay.
I've seen
Akakiri, the episode Akakiri, I felt like I could draw some of those things.
I feel like we're not giving the artist enough respect for just how beautiful each scene was.
I'm impressed. They're animators. That's more than I can say. I'm not an animator. I am not an artist. But if I feel like I could draw a somewhat convincing replication of one of the characters...
I don't know, Migo.
Okay. After this video, I am going to go home and I'm going to draw Tulip.
Alright, and then I want to see how convincing it is.
And then we post it on our Instagram.
Yeah, and see which one the audience thinks is the real one.
Yes, post the real Tulip next to my Tulip.
It's like that Netflix show where they have the fake cake items.
Oh yeah, is it cake thing?
Alright guys, this is our favorite segment, Spot the Difference.
Yes.
Can you spot the difference?
Can you spot the difference?
I think the art style looks a lot like every other Cartoon Network show I've seen, pretty much. I mean, that's an exaggeration. Like Clarence, for an example.
Whoa, Clarence?
Which one's Clarence?
It's just some random, like, Cartoon Network show.
Okay.
Because, like, you know, regular show and The Amazing World of Gumball have very distinct styles, I feel like, but, like, Clarence looks...
I feel like they're kind of similar to each other. Well, Gumball uses a variety of mediums. They use like cartoon, they use like claymation and 3D stuff and all kinds of different materials in their thing.
It's just making more oval shaped heads. That's the biggest.
Yeah, it's just draw a circle, draw 2 more circles for eyes, draw kind of an upwards ovalish balloon animal thing for a mouth, like Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Like,
But it works in my opinion.
I mean, it looks acceptable. I just feel like, for me, I like to see art that looks different, but like
Like its own thing.
Yeah,
something that's distinct.
so that's the problem, is I don't watch much Cartoon Network at all.
Yeah.
So if you give me 3 characters from 3 different shows, chances are I'd probably think they're all from the same show, because like the art style, like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, and
Regular show.
regular show. Sure. If you just give me a character from each one, they'd probably feel like they could all be in the same show for me.
Yeah.
Let's look at my notes here.
Now we're gonna go through Owen's notes.
Oh, the animation. We'll start off with some of my notes. The intro is really cool. I like the kind of 80s cyberpunk vibe it has going on.
The synth noise. It works very well.
The whole train concept is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I think this whole thing was cleverly conceived and rather well executed.
You know the show's also made by a guy named Owen.
The show, Owen Dennis, the show creator and the voice of Sad One, who's my favorite character in the show. So Owens unite, Owen strong. I like Owen Dennis. We stan Owen. All right. So I think Owen Dennis, he had a very clever concept. I watched the pilot demo before they actually made the show.
Yeah.
And I was hooked just from that. So when they actually developed the whole series, I was like, wait a second. That's something that I was interested in right from the get-go. So I was happy to see they got to flesh it out and produce something like this. So I think it was very cleverly conceived with this mysterious infinite train. So the train is there as a guide to help you fix your inner turmoil and problems. So in a short form series with the 11-minute episodes, I was afraid they were gonna try to jam too much into too little space. And there were times where I felt the pacing was kind of too quick because a lot of it is filler, right? It's like each episode is its own little vignette thing.
Yeah.
But then in the last couple episodes, you get kind of plot at the end. So there were times where it seemed a little weird, but I think for the most part, the pacing was done pretty well, in that each vignette kind of added a layer to the character of Tulip or to Atticus or 1-1 or something. And we kind of got to see more to them through these vignettes instead of them being one personality through the entire thing.
Yeah.
And then by the time we did get to the quick plot at the tail end of the season, we already cared about these characters and wanted to see them succeed and things like that. And the protagonist, Tulip, in the opening, she seems a little bratty at first, but we understand as it goes on the turmoil she's going through from having her parents divorced and not feeling like she was an important enough part of their lives, that she felt neglected for a lot of it. And I think that's what a lot of children feel like during a divorce, is they feel like they become an obstacle to their parents and things like that. So I think it was addressing some serious problems that they put in the character of Tulip, and we see her grow through the series kind of in a little more self-acceptance, and then we see her kind of mellow from her brattiness as she learns to care more about others too. And I think it's well paced to get us to like the characters, so by the end there's actual investment into what happens to them.
Speaking of the characters, Tulip is a very good protagonist, voice acted very well by
Ashley Johnson.
She's voice acted very well. She's very likable. She's a redhead, which is pretty cool.
We don't have enough gingers in our lead roles, other than Ariel and Merida, who are both rather annoying protagonists.
Yes.
Tulip is very likable. Atticus is fun. He's a good character. 1-1 is also really good. One is an interesting character because he both comes in with emotion, humor. He's very important to the plot. He's not just a throwaway character. There's a whole mystery around him. Atticus is a brave, strong doggo who, brings a lot of good laughs, but he also can be very, he can give you some good advice at times.
It was the most soul-wrenching parts of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
By
the
the
heart
finale.
of it.
Yeah.
He was the heart.
I liked him so much that it was the pacing was good, the characters were good, the voice acting was very good. Ashley Johnson. She was great as Tulip, bringing kind of that adolescent angst to life, but also the kind of the more...
The real struggles.
Yeah, the real struggle, kind of a reality to it. So she's also the voice of Ellie in The Last of Us. So, you kind of get the... but it's kind of a similar character of... She wants to be... she's a girl who's thrown into these crazy things. Yeah. And she's like, well, how do I approach this with my lack of life experience? So it feels like they're real characters, especially with the voice acting. One I know Owen Dennis is sad one, and then I don't remember who's glad one or Atticus.
Yeah.
Don't remember the voice.
But they do a good job.
But they do a great job, I will tell you that.
They're really good.
And it adds a level to it that makes it feel more realistic, even though you're in this silly infinity train thing with all these magical stuff. It's like these characters feel like
real people. They've got character.
Yeah. One of them's a dog, one of them's a robot, one's a girl, but you're like
all three things that don't really exist.
Yeah, but the voice acting was done very well, and I'll say that. I liked the imagination behind all of it was really good. Just the various cars, and keeping up the mystery of the train, what it was there for, what the number on her hand means. Like, that was all done very well. It kept me guessing to the very end.
Yeah.
And then it becomes the number, the whole train. It becomes a big thing in the later seasons, like season 2, which I've seen, and I assume 3 and 4.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
They explain just enough in season 1 that you don't feel robbed of anything, but then they set it up to continue mysteriously for the later seasons.
Yeah. And then season 2's characters: Ellen Dracula, Mirror Tulip, Jessie.
Actually, her name is Lake.
Or Lake.
That doesn't happen until the very end of
Very
the
But it's
season.
still her name.
Yes.
I'm gonna call her by her dead name, I guess.
Okay.
I think personally, MT and her identity crisis is
Funny. No.
I was laughing at the idea of her not knowing who she was and
When
where
she
she
went
stood in
crazy
this
and
world.
started punching the train and stuff, it was hilarious.
Oh yeah, when she cut off all her hair by almost destroying herself
Oh yeah.
in the wheel in an act of rebellion. Hilarious.
Pretty awesome.
Anyway, she's very well written.
Yeah.
And she's also voiced again really well by Ashley Johnson.
I'm gonna settle this once and for all. I'm
Please.
just gonna keep talking.
Please
keep
do.
talking.
For the character, it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like, basically, you have Tulip, who's trying to figure her own stuff out. And now we have Mirror Tulip, who is a completely separate character trying to
Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson.
And Jeremy Crutchley as Glad One, Owen Dennis as Sad One, and Ernie Hudson as Atticus.
Ooh, can we get a shout out to them in the comments below?
In season 2, Ashley Johnson as Mirror Tulip again, Robbie Damon as Jesse Kosei, and Alan Dracula doesn't speak. So.
But anyway, it just makes a lot of sense for the type of character. It's super clever how there's this mirror world, and their whole lives are basically built on just mirroring their regular selves. So it makes a lot of sense to have this character try to stray away from that, because Tulip in herself as a character is more rebellious in nature. So obviously her mirror self will be the same way. and yeah, I just think it works really well.
Mirror Tulip and her arc is very good. She doesn't want anyone to be around her. She just wants to be her own person. But her arc, slowly realizing that she kind of wants to be with someone, which is Jessie, is very, very well done. Very well done.
I'm sorry, she's made of glass.
Chrome, not
Chrome.
glass. If she was made out of glass, she would have already shattered by now.
And she wants to make it in the real world
So
as a person. It's a good thing the season just ends there, because the next episode of her in the real world would have been people smashing her with crowbars.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Owen.
sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how that was ever gonna fly.
Owen.
I don't know how that was
Owen
ever
is a
gonna
bit of a downer. He's the bad cop. I'm the good cop as in Caesar. Caesar's just some cop that we tolerate.
Caesar's donut cop.
Caesar's the donut cop.
Busy. I really did not like MT at the beginning of the season. Actually, in season 1, when she's introduced, I didn't really like her at all. I thought, I mean, I guess if our reflections were really sentient, there'd be a thing there. But like, just kind of her only existing because of Tulip, but somehow evolving. Okay. It's a fictional world, it's imagination, I get it. Anyway, it started out seeming selfish and everything, but by the end, she had developed into her own character. Because her character started out just rude. That was kind of just what her character was. Yeah. It was, I just don't like what you do, mean. And so she didn't have any interests of her own or anything. But as the season 2 progressed, she kind of became more of her own character. She lessened a little bit off the punk rebellion thing and more into, it's no longer about what I'm against, but about what I'm for. And then she developed a dream, she developed goals, she developed friendships, which make a character believable. And I think the writers did a good job in giving her an arc throughout the thing, instead of just being the opposite of Tulip. She started to become kind of like Tulip in a way, in that she became friendlier when she was originally just standoffish. But then we got her to become someone.
Yeah, and I think what really worked and what really helped her was the fact that in the season 1, the only human was Tulip. But in this season, we finally get to see her interact with another human, which is Jessie. Yeah, and Jesse is very likable. His arc, he starts as like this overly too much, like he extroverted, and so they're a good
annoying at times.
Sometimes annoying, and they're parallel about hiding too much and then saying too much and being too much and not being enough, and then working together. They finally meet each other in the middle, work together, and it was all very good. I think Jesse started out more likable, but
just because he was friendly.
He was more friendly.
He wanted people to be happy.
Yeah, and that was where he was going wrong, where he was trying too much to please everyone. When you try to please everyone, you're not going to really do that.
You're not going to please. You try to please everyone, you end up pleasing nobody, including yourself.
Yeah.
We learn that Jesse, despite being a friendly guy himself, when we first meet him during the family tree feud thing, he's trying to find the nicest mediate. He's trying to be the nice mediator to get everyone friendly and happy. While we learn he himself was a friendly guy, we learn through the later episodes that he had some bad friends who caused him to be
bad influences.
Who were bad influences who caused him to be mean to his brother.
Yeah.
And his little brother who looked up to him, they were bullying him. And so we learn that Jesse, who wants to be friendly with everyone, even he gets caught up in a bad crowd and ends up not being friendly with everyone, including being mean to the person who he should look out for, his younger brother who looks up to him. And so we get that warning of be careful who you surround yourself with. Please tell me it's recording.
It's still recording.
Okay.
The ice pack is working.
Yes.
I told you.
Yes.
I'm a genius.
Shh, the audience doesn't know what it's sitting on. They think we've got a tripod.
Just for you guys at home, what they're referring to is the fact that this camera is on a makeshift tripod of a taquito box.
An ice pack under it so it doesn't overheat.
And an ice pack so it doesn't overheat because we're in.
It's 91 degrees outside right now.
Like, Jesse is kind of the boy, but then he becomes not the boy.
Well, actually,
No, you realize he wasn't the boy.
Yeah.
But then he became the boy.
He became the boy.
The moment he realized he needed to stop pleasing everyone and just care for the people who actually care about him,
Yes.
that is when everything started going right for him.
So there is the Apex cult,
Yes.
and
that is the breaking point for Jesse, where he has to decide whether is he with Miratul and is he gonna stick with some good values, or is he gonna break away and just please people? And eventually he sees how bad those people are, and he realizes that he basically only has to stick with the people who truly care about him.
Yeah.
yeah, so we get this good influences, bad influences thing. So his friends in the real world led him to bully his brother, and he felt bad about that, but he didn't know what to do about it because he wanted to be cool around these guys. And then when we get into the cult group on the train, who disregard people like MT because she's not a passenger and they only believe that the human people are worth anything.
Yeah.
They're just like his group of friends in the real world, but on steroids. Like they don't think anyone else has value, and so he comes to the conclusion that it doesn't matter if these are your friend groups or whatever. Is that I don't want. Because he didn't know what to do with his bully friends.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted them to be his friends, but he didn't like how they treated his brother, but he didn't want to break away from them.
Yeah.
Whereas his experience with the Apex, he realizes that what you have to do is break away from the people who are causing you to do bad things and treat people badly. You can't just you can't just hang around with them and do the bad things and then go over and say sorry to your friend later and then go back and do bad things. He realizes that what you do with bad influences is cut them off.
Yeah.
Maybe they made you feel cool for a second, but you have to evaluate your priorities, figure out what's good, what's bad, and do the good. And so we get this development in Jesse from good-hearted, good-intentioned, but kind of wishy-washy or weak-natured. And then he becomes a stronger character, deciding, I know what I want to stand for, I know what the right thing to do is, and I'm going to do it. And so we realize, and that's what happens later when he returns home to his brother. He apologizes to him, says, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have let them hurt you, and then he says, I shouldn't have hurt you. So he realizes that even though it was his group of friends who were doing the most bullying, he still enabled them by, he was being with them and he was part of that. And by enabling them, he hurt his brother more than those guys did, because his brother looked up to him and admired him, and he should have protected him.
Yeah.
So he realizes that, and he becomes a better brother and a better person. And then he goes back on the train to help MT.
Yeah.
So we see him become a much stronger character.
So Jesse's very well written. Honestly, top 2 character in the entire show.
Who's your top first?
Here's a tier list. And F tier, I'm gonna put the Apex until season 3 and 4. D tier, I'm gonna put the bullies. The bullies, they're mean. Actually, switch them around. And C tier, I'm gonna put the cat. And B tier, I'm gonna put Randy. And A tier.
Randy's the water guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And A tier.
B tier.
And A tier, I'm gonna put Alec Dracula.
We all need an Alan Dracula.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't give for an Alan Dracula.
And
I
then
like
S-
how it's very fitting that his exit to the show is just him, how his feet turn into rockets and he
He just rocket shoes off into
Yeah.
the sky.
space.
And
then
Alan Dracula is really just a plot device, but a plot device used very well.
He's a cute plot device.
But
And very
he
nice.
almost has some mystery surrounding him too, because one's like, "You're my greatest creation." I don't even remember what he said. But he says
What? I really went outside the mold or something like that.
something like that.
Anyway, in S tier, then we got MT, Tulip, my boy Jesse.
I'd put MT in A tier.
I would-
She's not quite S tier for me. I would put Tulip, Jesse, Atticus, and 1-1 in S tier. So all in all, these are some great characters.
Yeah, the show thrives off
Yeah.
of characters.
Its protagonists are interesting, and its side characters are almost all very fun and interesting to think about.
so much good.
It's a good show.
It's a good show.
And it has a lot to say about humanity. I would say in season 1, we get Tulips grappling with her parents' divorce.
Yeah.
But she kind of comes to accept it, which I think part of it was her self-acceptance, in that she didn't get enough love from her mom and dad. But which if your mom and dad are separated, it can be hard to love yourself because you don't feel like you're getting enough love from your parents.
Yeah.
So I think part of it was her self-acceptance, but part of it was her acceptance of her parents' divorce. She thought they were happier. And I think while the show, I think it does a good job of expressing the harm divorce does to a child, it still said that everyone was better off after it. And maybe not everyone. I think but that her parents were happier after it. And while I believe that there are situations in which marriages were not
Valid, I
sure valid, but that people got married without being ready for it, I still don't like the general endorsement of divorce, I guess, we get in our media. Generally, I think, though, it did a better job of showing the harm it has on the children, as opposed to
most media.
Infinity Train is better than Uncle Grandpa.
Infinity Train is one of those cartoon shows that has good family values, that it's not entirely just random and stupid humor. Like season 1, it shows the harshness of divorce on a child and how she struggles to find self-love and learn to love others and feel loved without the influence of both her parents together. Season 2, we find MT being really standoffish and being afraid of people that she disguises with gruffness. But then she learns to accept people into her life, and we see Jesse learning to be a better brother by cutting off bad influences.
Yeah.
So we are getting these good values shown through a fun and interesting medium of this mystery sci-fi show. So I think this is just a really well-rounded show that people of all ages can enjoy.
It could have very well become another Uncle Grandpa where there's a lot of random... Because like the train concept in itself is... I don't want to say it's simple, but it could be abused in a very... It could just be humorous for humor's sake.
Yeah, you could have just made it a comedy.
The point is, it could have been another Uncle Grandpa where there's just a bunch of random things. He just does a bunch of... there's plot, but it's mind-numbing. Versus, or Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. Teen Titans has plot that is, very, I don't want to say it's mature, but it works for mature and young audiences. Versus Teen Titans Go, where you have, the left... Yes.
Infinity Train is fun enough for little kids to watch it.
A little scary.
Serious
A little
enough
scary, yeah.
for teens to watch it, and deep enough for adults to watch it. We felt something from the show.
I felt something.
There was a meaning and there was a purpose compared to a
But
show
it was also the funnies.
It had funnies.
It had some funnies, and what was most important was that we were able to walk away better people. Maybe.
Sure, but that it has the potential to make you walk away better people.
Yes.
And, or at least thinking people. This is what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to apprehend us on an intellectual level, as well as an emotional. So when the movie is done, we should be thinking about it, thinking about how it made us feel, and thinking about what it made us think. And I think this show has instilled some themes and messages that are good to think about, worthy themes and messages that we don't always get. And so Owen, Dennis, and everyone else on the Infinity Train creative team, thank you. You did a good job.
Okay, so I'm gonna give season 1. I'm gonna do it separately and then the show as a whole. So season 1 is a 9 out of 10. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10, but it deserves a 9 out of 10, so I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
Kind of a backwards way of doing it.
Anyway, I give season 2 a 9.1 out of 10.
Ooh.
Because I like it, but only slightly more than season 1, because they were both super solid. Anyway, the show as a whole, I want to give it, and this is just season 1 and 2. Season 3 and 4,
I haven't seen season 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So that is not included.
So the show as a whole is gonna be a
You have to pretend seasons 3 and 4 don't exist.
yes, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. All right.
How does that work?
So the respective seasons got a 9, and the show itself is a 10.
Yeah.
I would give season 1 a 9 out of 10.
All right.
However, for season 2, I would only give it a 9 out of 10. Them as a whole, I would have to lower it to a 9 out of 10.
Okay. This is 9 out of 10 Infinity Trains.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 Infinity Trains.
Yeah, not stars. We don't do stars. They're infinity trains.
Yeah.
So it seems like 9 out of 10 is the recurring theme, so I think I'll stick with that. Season 1, well, I don't know if I do the seasons separately. I think I'm just going to give the whole show a 9 out of 10. I've said pretty much all good things about the show. I had some slight issues if you read into things, which I think the show was trying to balance both acceptance of divorce as well as showcasing the harms of it. And I think if you read into things, there are all kinds of things that you could come up with. However, I think it's a very solid show. The writing and pacing, and the characters, I love it. The villain in season 1, I felt wasn't very fleshed out. You get a little bit of backstory, but my ratings. I am not going to split up the seasons ratings because I liked season 1 better than I liked season 2 in general. I like Tulip and Atticus as Tulip, Atticus, and 1-1 as our main cast a little better than MT, Jesse, and Alan Dracula. As good as those characters were, I liked our main characters in season 1 a little better. Though I liked the antagonists, the villains in season 2 better than the season 1 villain. The season 1 villain was so-so for me. The season 2 villains, the Flex guys, those guys were cool. I liked them. So I liked season 1 overall a little better. It was also newer, and I hadn't seen it at all, but by season 2 you have an idea of the train, and so some of the mystery is lessened. But I'm going to give the whole show a 9, and a 9 out of 10 Infinity Trains, because it's really solid, just short of perfection. Nothing's perfect, just short of perfection, but it's...
Except me, of course. I am.
Right, except Caesar. You're a 10 out of 10 Infinity Trains.
And John Stamos.
But,
And John Stamos.
And John Stamos. Well, no, he's an 11. We had to settle for perfection because we couldn't get...
Yeah, versus above
perfection. Yep, this show just barely missed the mark of perfection. I guess I have to watch seasons 3 and 4 now and see if they are better. But Owen, Dennis, and everyone else in the Infinity Train creative team, thank you very much for a good show.
Yes. Thank you for not writing garbage.
And we are... Films in Retrospect.
Plus the Caesar Deluxe Edition, because I'm here.
Until we get John Stamos.
Yes, then I'll be the John Stamos.
We promise we'll get more guest stars, more than this guy.
Yeah, Caesar won't be our only guest star, don't worry. Our next, I won't spoil what the next series, movie, whatever is, but we already have a guest star lined up.
Minions Rise of Gru.
And we're getting Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
And we're getting Dwayne Johnson to review Minions: The Rise of Gru with us. So tune in next time.
We have been.
We said it. We said it.
Already.
All right.
Bye.